Hello, how are you? My name is Stephanie. This is Couture, Costumes, and Cats. I know it's been a little while, but I'm happy to be back. Um, this is, I have to say, this is the worst time of year to be wearing this costume. I don't know why I decided to do this, but no, I do. I do know why. It was just the 35th anniversary of Batman 1989. Yay! I missed it by a couple of days. I think it was June 23rd, so about a week and a half ago. But oh my gosh, 35 years. Um, Before we dive into this, just a little disclaimer that I do live with three cats. So there can be some noise, anything from, some meowing to the walls kind of falling down. I'm exaggerating, but uh, they are up to no good. So, hopefully they don't disrupt this too much. But hopefully, if you're here, you like cats as well, as much as I do. All right. So, I'm just going to pull up my notes. I watched this movie last night again, and I wrote so many notes. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never going to get through all of this." But um, it gets pretty daunting sometimes to be live. So I was like, I'll write some notes just to make sure that I don't forget anything. So of course, I'm talking about the iconic Batman movie from 1989 with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, and Kim Basinger. As I said, yes, I watched it last night. Absolutely love this movie. It's so funny how, even though I've seen it so many times, I feel like I see something new every time. So yesterday I was really paying attention, and I saw a bunch of things I feel like I had never noticed before. So much fun. So I think I'm going to start by talking about the movie and talk a little bit about the outfits and everything and throw some love at it. And then I'm going to talk about the making of my costume. Um, yeah. So, this movie came out with it was a huge phenomenon based on iconic Batman world and the relationship with the Joker, and so we get a little bit of an origin story, but we don't dwell too much on it, and we get introduced to the Joker. I think the Joker almost has more of an origin story than Batman does in this film. We see like the full transformation. So it's very interesting. But that I feel like that's the way that it is in the Batman world. The the spotlight is always more on the villains than on Batman himself. So this movie does not disappoint. um, yeah, I love how Gotham seems to just be its own like time portal, no matter what decade it is that we're seeing content from Gotham. It always seems to be the noir 1940s. So kudos for the creators of this comic, and also Tim Burton for bringing that to life. So the movie directed by Tim Burton, score by Danny Elfman. Can I just like just stop and say, oh my gosh, is that score like like it's a part of the movie? What would that movie be without the score? I can't imagine it. It's so epic, and it plays such a huge part in this film. Um, that theme with the horns is so iconic. I mean, we still hear it in some modern renditions of Batman, like the Lego Movie and the Batman animated series, and some Batman games. That famous like na 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 na. Na. So you can't go wrong with that movie. Just the score. You could put on the score and just remember the scenes, remember that film, feel like you're there, like you're in Gotham. So yeah. um, the film is quite longer than I remembered. It's 2 hours, and, it doesn't really drag on, but there's a lot that goes on. So, I feel like my favorite part of the film is in the middle where we have the whole Smilex bit. Uh, Joker is just so over the top, and, those ads with the, "Love that Joker," with the Smilex, and it's just that contrast that we get, like constant contrast in this film of how dark it actually is. What is going on is pretty dark, but it's also very comical. It mirrors very well what like how we see Batman. He is, walking around Gotham just like terrorizing people and killing thugs, but at the same time he's like very, like he's a bat, and he's wearing like a rubber cowl and has a big, yellow logo on his chest. So it's and there's goofy music, and the thugs are just like so over the top. They have makeup that makes them look like corpses basically, and they're just bad, they're just evil. So it's quite funny that it's just so over the top, and yet it's so good. um then we meet the journalist Knox, and we meet the the police commissioner. I think he's not, isn't he a lieutenant in this film, or is he already commissioner? Anyways, we meet Gordon, played by Pat Hingle, which is quite a bit of nostalgia for me because the Batman movies that I knew the most growing up were the later ones, the ones with Val Kilmer, and then the one with Chris O'Donnell and um, oh my God, George Clooney. Uh, and still, it was Pat Hingle and Michael Gough playing Alfred. So it's fun to see that they actually started at the beginning of this like big screen era, playing those roles, and they played them for the four consecutive, Batman movies. So we meet Gordon and a whole bunch of dirty cops, and we meet Knox, the journalist, and then we meet Vicky Vale. So, talking about outfits a little bit, I love how everyone is just dressed like they're in a 1940s noir film, and they're dressed to the nines, the detectives, the thugs, everybody's wearing a suit and hats, and it's very like foggy streets. You have the journalist who's also wearing a three-piece suit and a hat. So the whole mood of this film is very, very um I love it very much, the aesthetics of it, obviously. Um, yeah, so, we meet Vicky Vale. She instantly becomes, interested in unveiling Batman. There's been some rumors about somebody like a 6-foot bat in Gotham, but they want to prove it. So she teams up. She's a photographer. She teams up with Knox, the journalist, to uncover who the bat is, and they go to Bruce Wayne's party, and then they meet Bruce Wayne, and instant attraction between Bruce Wayne and Vicky Vale. So there's a lot going on. You have the dual identity of Batman, you have the love interest, you have the investigation going on, you have the origin of Joker, and it all just culminates in this whole, oh my gosh, comical, over the top story where Joker just like pops in and out to terrorize, the city with those Machiavel like schemes basically that make no sense. And then Batman shows up to save the day. And yeah, pretty straightforward uh, film. And then, twist, spoilers. Movie's been out for 35 years. There's no spoilers. Everyone's seen this film. The twist is that Batman actually realizes that the man who murdered his parents is Jack Napier, who turned, Joker. So it's a bit more personal, we always say that, there's villains because they're superheroes, and it's funny because they play on that yes, Joker exists because of Batman, but Batman exists because of Joker. So, it's a little deeper, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. So, as I said, love this movie top to bottom. Obviously, there's some things that are problematic, but it was made in 1989. It was a huge hit. Um, and yeah, then they made so many other Batman movies, but this one definitely is my favorite Batman. It used to terrify me as a kid. I think that I had only seen the part where the Joker dies, and that cackle that he has in this like little in his pocket. He has this little recorded like cackle, and still, the joke is still alive even though he's dead, and it just terrified me as a kid. So I went many years without seeing it, but yeah, I definitely have to say it's my favorite Batman. And the Batmobile is cool. The suit is cool. There's just these simple stunts where he just gets his is it a batarang, like with this hook, and swishes around the room, goes flies up in the on the tower on the basilica. He's always like throwing that thing, and it's just hooking on something, and woof, it just swooshes out of frame. And it's kind of simple in a way, but it's lovely, very very entertaining. And I think that the way that the film is lit just works so well with whatever they had to work with. When you think about it, that movie is quite small. There's not that many characters. Obviously, there's some bigger scenes where they're in the square, like the city hall. They're celebrating like the 200th anniversary of Gotham. So there's a lot of people there. But most of the time, it's just the thugs and Batman, Vicky Vale, and it's just that little group, and the cops, obviously, and they do their thing in different little spots in the city. So it's pretty funny because there's this one set where it seems that everything is just always happening around that street corner where the theater is, or the opera. There's so many different scenes that just happen like right there, and it's shot from different angles, and you gotta appreciate the economy in that. But it looks also different, has a different mood during the day versus at night. And there's like so much like smoke coming out of the subway grates, and there's it's really really moody, and the way that it's lit at night benefits just how limited they would have been with special effects, and just the Batmobile, and the costume also, as opposed to the Adam West TV show, where you can clearly see the seams in the spandex suit, and where the cowl is like sewn onto the neck, and I absolutely love it. It's lovely, but it doesn't really give you the same uh, feelings watching it. It's much more goofier when you can see that it's a man in a spandex suit versus what they did in this film, where Batman is a uh, creature. It's like it's a symbol. It's a very scary symbol that's there for what is he there for? Is it truth and justice, or is it to terrorize the people of Gotham? Who knows? So yeah, definitely, if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry I spoiled it, but definitely watch it again. It's so lovely, it's funny, and just absolutely beautiful. All right, so to talk about the outfits a little bit, um, I obviously love the Joker, as you can tell. But what I love the most is that The character, the Joker, the outfits completely mirror the way that Jack Napier was dressed before he became the Joker. You know, the very beautiful three-piece suits, the wool hats, the overcoats, very stylish, very lavish clothes. There's so much um, I mean, the money, you can see that he's a well-off man and that he is very proud. So I love that he keeps that going as the Joker. So whether he's Jack Napier or he's the Joker, he's wearing a suit and he has a tie, a pocket square, and a fancy hat. And I love that they keep that throughout the film. Um, the character of Knox this time really made me laugh because I feel like every time he popped on the screen, he reminded me of Bob Hoskins in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The very like 1940s, pinstripe shirt with the red tie and the hat and the suit jacket, but very like, working man, but also like the way you picture a toddler wearing a suit almost like that's what it reminds me of. You can't take him seriously. So I was really struck by that this time. It really made me laugh. Um, and then Kim Basinger, she has her own costume designer for this film, and I assume that's because she came in so late in the project. They had to get someone to dress her, exclusively work on that. But I have to say, just like Joker said, now that girl has style. Every time we see her, she looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, that actress is just stunning. But the way that they dressed her was still very professional. The way that I would picture a working woman in that era, and but still very stylish. Like she's parallel with the fact that she was a fashion photographer. Like you can tell that she keeps that in her life. She mirrors that in her style. So all her outfits are beautiful and somewhat muted though. She wears a lot of white dresses or black dresses, and it's quite funny how how she just like goes undercover, to photograph Bruce Wayne when he lied and he said he was going to be out of town, but he turns out he's not, and she follows him around and she wears this like black beret and this black coat, and you're not undercover Kim Basinger. Everybody knows who you are. Like you can't hide. Even though you're trying to look like you're undercover, you are still look like Vicky Vale. You're not fooling anyone. So yeah, I love that that whole part of the movie. Just seeing every time they come on screen, what are they going to wear next? So yes, love, love, love. Okay, so now for the Joker. I picked one of the only times that the Joker actually wears like skin colored foundation over his like white face makeup is that scene in the museum, and that's why he has this painter's beret. I chose this outfit for a few reasons, like very specific reasons. One of them was that I I didn't think I could handle wearing like a full face paint, like a full a full painted face, just because it's a lot of work, and also I would be afraid that the makeup would end up everywhere on my outfits, And I spent so much time on this costume and money that I didn't want it to be covered in white makeup. So I was like, okay, let's choose a scene, a look where he has, just like skin, skin colored. So the one in the museum was perfect for that because there was no way I was ever going to find a beautiful wool hat like he wears in that movie. And also, he also wears another purple suit at some point when the first time that he's out and he's meeting he's at that board meeting of thugs, and he just shows up and looks a little bit weird and everybody's wondering what's happening. He's wearing this beautiful suit, purple suit with a purple wool hat, but the suit has a slight green pinstripe. There was no way I was ever going to find that fabric ever. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna try. So I went with this look, and I'm gonna talk about the different pieces, but I'll just give you a overall look, and then I'm gonna take off this jacket because it's very hot. Hey, Sarah. As you can see, Sarah's joined me. All right. Um, so a lot of thinking and planning went into this costume. It was not easy to find a lot of these different fabrics. So I gave myself a lot of time, and I had like last Halloween, Halloween 2023 as a goal to make this outfit come to life. So I went to Toronto last summer, and I knew that I would be able to find some fabrics that are hard to find at a specific store that I love, at King Textiles. Love that store. They have beautiful fabrics and lots of colors. So I thought, okay, I need some orange satin and I need some purple wool. That's where I'll find it. So that's where I found these two. I found this is a crepe back satin, and I used the shiny side. It's a beautiful, beautiful fabric. It has a little bit of a heavier weight than a satin, and it doesn't really wrinkle, and it's really nice. It drapes really well, easy to sew. Just love it. And then for the jacket, I went with a purple suiting, like wool, and was not cheap. But what I decided to do when when I first started working on this costume, I decided to make pieces that I would most likely wear again. So I thought, I'm going to spend so much time and money building these pieces. Why not make them, beautiful, durable, and wearable? So yeah, so I made this jacket out of wool, and I used a green satin for the lining to stay on theme, and I used like a vintage princess coat pattern. I just made a cropped version of it. So really, really happy with the results. I wanted to add some removable tails to it, and then I just ran out of patience. So I decided to not put them right away, and then maybe I'll revisit that one day. Um, the one thing looking back on it is that I made it just like a normal closure with just like a front flap, and in the film it's more of like a orchestra like coat tails with not closures but decorative buttons. So that would have also looked very nice, but this functions, as a coat, a wearable, fall coat. So I'm really happy with it. Then for the shirt, I decided to do short sleeves because it was more likely that I would wear that again outside of this costume. So yeah, I just chose a pattern that I've done before that I love, and I just decided to do little puff sleeves because you don't really see them anyways when you're wearing the jacket. Yeah, the waistcoat. This was the first time that I've ever done a vest or a waistcoat, and I love this pattern. I've made it another 2 times since. It was a lot of work. I actually started with this piece because I wasn't sure how it would go. It actually has 16 or 14 darts total. It's quite a lot of work. So um, I'm really happy with the way it turned out, but I'm happy also that I gave myself more time to accomplish this one because first time you do something, you never know how it's gonna go. And it's a fitted piece, it's got buttonholes. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So I just wanted to, give myself enough time to make sure that everything goes right. Um, then I made this beret. This one was quite fun. I did not know really what I was doing. I just decided to go for it. What if, I was making a chef's hat, or think about it like a beret, let's make the brim and then go from there. And it's basically what it is. It's just a big circle gathered onto a brim. And I put an elastic in the back so that it, is easily, like, you can put it on and off easily, and it's a bit more comfortable. I use this, like, upcycled fabric that, my friend gave me a bunch of her grandmother's, like, stash, after she passed, and this particular fabric and the one I used for the back of the vest were part of that stash. So it's a lot of fun when you can use, fabrics that you already have, or fabrics that were donated to you in this way. This is the perfect color. It doesn't have quite as much body as the one that we see in the film. The one in the film has, like, almost like some angular things going on. So I was trying to think about how I could make that work better. If I could maybe add a little bit of tulle in the lining. So yeah, something to think about. But first try, and it worked. So I was really, really happy about that. It's basically like making a gathered skirt, but, with a flat bottom instead of just having the bottom open. Uh, and it worked, and it's like pretty much the perfect size too. So I'm really happy. Sarah, what you doing? I forgot to say about the waistcoat that I drew the little symbols on the buttons with a permanent marker. So if you look closely in the film or the production photos, because you know I've looked at a lot of photos outside the film, because in the film it's hard to see the costume details. The scenes go by so quickly, and you're like trying to see the length of something, and how, is it lined, is it the structure, etc. So if you can find stills from the movie, or like really good promo shots, then it's you're golden. So in those promo shots, I noticed that Joker's waistcoat had four white buttons with actually the suits, like from a deck of cards. So I drew the tiny little symbols on every button, and it worked really well. I was afraid that they would come off, but with the permanent marker, you just needed a really, really fine tip, because they're like 5/8 of an inch buttons, and there's six of them. So I bought a little extra so I could practice, and yeah, it worked really, really well. So yeah, I love this waistcoat, even though it's not exactly the same as the one he wears in the movie. I had to kind of, compromise, and look at what would, suit my body a bit more, because I have a bust, so a men's waistcoat would, not look exactly the same. If I wanted to make like a fitted waistcoat, it'd be a bit more difficult. So I was like, let's just go with this pattern. I know that it's adjusted for my size. So, good enough. The only thing is that we don't get to see as much of the shirt and the bow tie or the scarf, but it's fine. It's fine. This scarf I've had for years. It's a silk scarf that my mother gave me to hand me down, and it's the perfect color. So I was so happy. I kept finding things that I could just use for this costume. I also bought purple gloves, but I'm not wearing them today. It's way too hot. And the last piece, oh my gosh, the pants. This one was a bit of a headache, but in the end, I'm so happy with the way they turned out. I looked at so many fabric stores, in person, online, for months, trying to find a purple and green plaid, and it does not exist. I mean, you can get stuff custom printed, but it's pricier, and then you're not sure if it's going to turn out. So I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know. And then one day I was shopping, and I saw these pajama pants that were green with like yellow and gray plaid, just like the lines. And I thought to myself, so they were kind of like a bright green and gray, plaid, and then a little bit of a thin yellow line. And since they were like kind of really cheap, pajama pants, I thought, why not try that? Why not buy those and try to dye them? And that's exactly what I did. I bought some, it's the right brand, like the purple, very deep purple, dye. And I was like, let's go, let's try it. And the good thing about these pajama pants is that flannel can withstand a lot of heat. So I was able to, dye them in the really, really hot water, and the result was stunning. So I'm really, really happy that I decided to try, because not only did it deepen the green to like a more teal emerald green, it completely changed the gray to purple. So I ended up with the perfect color pants. So showing you again. So see how we can still see a little bit of the yellow, but it kind of turned a little bit darker. And then we have the gray that turned purple and the green that is like a deeper green. So this feed doesn't do it complete justice, but oh my gosh, was I so happy that I decided to try. And the funniest thing is that I had to buy two pairs of those PJ pants and deconstruct them to rebuild these pants, because these are like almost like not culottes. They're more like a, you know, 1940s wide leg, high waisted trouser. And the especially men's, pajama pants, even if I got a very big size, the crotch was not long enough. So I had to deconstruct them, so two pieces together to make like basically one piece. So I bought two pairs, and then two front pieces to make the front left leg, and then another two pieces to make the front right leg. So these actually have seams in the front and the back, but you can't really see it because I did pretty good plaid matching, the print matching, and there's also a big pleat in the front, so you don't focus so much on the center of the pants because of that big pleat. And they're wide, they're dark, there's they're plaid, there's a lot going on, so you're not going to be focused on that seam. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind when you do costuming, for sure, that sometimes you just have to try things and hope for the best. Yeah, so couple more things. Obviously, I've talked about the outfits, the before and after. There's an outfit, a Joker outfit that I had never really noticed before, that I saw yesterday, that really it really struck me, because it's basically the same as this. It's very similar. The waistcoat, the shirt, the plaid pants, but it's all black and white. And it's only because he's doing this like 3-minute mime bit. And I just thought that was so great. I was like, man, that is just such a detail, to spend to spend so much time building a full outfit just for that scene. I just could not love that more. I love I love that. Oh my gosh. All right. So a couple of things maybe to say before I go. Couple of advice, a little bit of advice and some tips if you want to make your own Joker costume, or if you want to go into costuming in general. Um, yes, give yourself some time, because as I said, it can take a while to find that perfect fabric, and you might have to experiment and, buy a little extra if you want to try some things, or try with do like a mock-up with some test fabric first. And like this was like a mock-up, but I had enough fabric and I'm like, if it works, it works. And then it did, first try. So that's good. But you never know, and you really don't want to stress. Like that's the whole thing with this is like as much as I love wearing the costume, I love making them so much more. And when you have a deadline, it can be really stressful when you're making, one, two, three, four, five pieces. And some of them, you've never made before, and you're making a full coat, full waistcoat with linings. It's a lot of work. So give yourself some time, plan, and enjoy the process of shopping and try to see things, how you can transform things. And there's nothing wrong with just using an existing purple coat and changing the hem or the sleeves or the collar, or making it your own that way. There's nothing wrong with that if you don't want to make a whole thing. I really challenged myself with this one, and I'm so happy that I did. But I also, time was on my side. Choose some fabrics that you can, play with and that can withstand a lot of heat. Like I said, the flannel for the pants was a good choice. I mean, not today because it's too hot, but in general, it's a good choice because it can withstand heat. So if you need to press them, if you want to dye your fabric, you need a lot of heat, and it can be quite disappointing if you take a fabric that is just like a polyester super synthetic, which is nothing wrong with that, but you can't press it as well. It doesn't withstand heat. This waistcoat fabric, this green, I love it. I got it in the bargain bin. It's kind of like a mix between a canvas and a twill, but it doesn't withstand like so much heat, and it has all these darts and structures. So it takes a long time to steam it. And sometimes you just want to press it really quick, and there's so many fabrics that you can't do that with. So keep that in mind when you're making, when you're buying your supplies. Just like the coat I made, there's so much pressing happening with this in the collar, and there's so many different interfacing, like the entire lapel and collar is interfaced. And there's shoulder pads. So you need something with a bit of thickness, and wool is great because it has thickness but also nice drape, and it can withstand heat, so you can press it. Yeah, be careful though, because wool can shrink, and you can't necessarily always wash it the way you want to wash it. So before you spend $25 a yard, think about all these things. Um, yeah, I think that's it. And again, if you're going to make functional pieces, choose fabrics that you love and that can withstand a lot of washing. Choose comfort if you're going to be wearing this outfit for cosplays or full day at work for Halloween or conventions and stuff. Like, oof, you want something to be breathable and comfortable and nice on your skin. So spend some time finishing your seams and choosing a good fabric um, that you enjoy wearing. So yeah. Oh, so I hope you liked my talk. I was a little bit all over the place, but it is what it is. And go watch Batman. And I'll see you soon. I'm working on something special for September. There is a movie that is celebrating a 10th anniversary. It's one of my favorite horror movies. So I'm working on a very special costume from that film. So I'll see you for another live in September. And in between, stay tuned for my silly cat videos and my outfit of the day. Take care, and I'll see you around. Bye.